But there was not any voice with a smile, as this New York Switchboard 1879 model makes clear. Very clear. Here's the way it was operated. History tells us that subscribers had difficulty in getting connections. History is probably right about it. Now, for the sake of contrast, let's glance at an operating room of today. This is an unusual picture because few operating rooms are long enough for a switchboard of this size to be built without curves or angles. It can serve as many as 10,500 lines.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Some peculiar switching devices made their appearance during the first few years of switchboard development. This one, for example, could accommodate only a small number of lines, but it was the first to introduce the key shelf, which had such an important development, and the cord circuit. Sections could be installed side by side and take care of 200 or 300 lines. But as telephone central offices increased in size, this method became difficult and awkward and was generally unsatisfactory until the invention in 1882 of the multiple switchboard. The thought underlying the multiple switchboard was that an operator must be able to connect any one of the particular group of lines she answered with any other line on the entire switchboard. That meant that terminals for every line had to appear somewhere within the reach of every operator. These terminals, which were small circular openings on the switchboard, were called jacks. For example, terminal jacks for line 1, 2, 3, 4 appeared a number of times on the switchboard, but all of them were connected together, and any operator at the entire switchboard could establish a connection to line 1, 2, 3, 4. A splendid idea. But how was an operator to know whether or not a line she wished to connect to was busy? Perhaps an operator at another part of the switchboard had already established a connection to the line. A quick and accurate means was devised whereby the operator, before plugging in, touched the tip of her plug to the rim of the jack. If a sharp click was produced in her receiver, it meant that the line was busy. If no click was heard, it meant that the line was not in use and she could establish the connection. Another very important milestone in switchboard progress was the introduction of the common battery system. This enabled one large storage battery in the central office to supply the current for talking, replacing the individual batteries on the subscriber's premises. Of course, local conditions determine when a common battery can be used economically. For a scattered population where switchboards are smaller in size, talking current is supplied by dry batteries installed with each telephone. Hand generators are used to signal the operator, and drop signals instead of electric lights serve to attract her attention. This type of switchboard is known as a magneto board. From successive improvements, the switchboard of today was evolved. Here it is, the A board, or answering board, in a large central office. Notice the orderly but complex system of wiring under the key shelf. Your telephone line terminates in a jack and lamp. When you remove the receiver, the lamp lights instantly, and your call is answered by one of the operators before whom the light appears. By this arrangement, there's always an operator ready to take your call. Usually, the operator at the A board passes the call to another type of board for completion. It's known to telephone people as the B board, or completing board. You'll notice that the face of this board is full of the openings called jacks, but there are no accompanying lamp signals. For every 2 or 3 operators at a B board, there's one of these jacks associated with your telephone. This type of multiple arrangement was developed directly from that first used in 1882. If your line is not busy, the operator inserts the plug in the jack, and the ringing starts automatically. You'll usually find that special private switchboards are used in business offices. There are many types and sizes. Some serve a few telephones in a small office. Others are designed to interconnect hundreds of telephones in a large organization. One of the largest of these private switchboards is in a New York hotel. 24 operators can sit at this switchboard, which utilizes 139 trunk lines to telephone central offices and serves over 3,000 telephones within the hotel. If you ever visit a toll, a long-distance operating room, here's another type of switchboard that you'll see. Now, these are also multiple switchboards, so that direct lines to many out-of-town points are within immediate reach of every operator. In a dial office, the switching equipment automatically gives you the number dialed, or else reports that it's busy. There is, however, a switchboard with operators in every dial office. Here is one. If you call a number that's been changed or disconnected, for example, your call is automatically routed to one of these operators. Or if you dial operator, one of them will answer you. If you dial operator in an emergency and call for the fire department or the police department or for an ambulance, one of these operators will not only complete your call, but will supervise it personally until your message has been transmitted. An exceedingly interesting apparatus is known as the call distributing B-board, which is used when calls for dial telephones are received from non-dial telephones. In completing the call, the operator depresses numbered keys that correspond to the number wanted. An entirely different method had to be developed for completing calls when the situation is reversed. That is, when a dial subscriber wants to reach a non-dial subscriber. The number that was dialed appears in illuminated figures before the operator in the manual office, who then completes the call. Here is one of the latest and most unusual developments, a teletypewriter switchboard, where connections are made so that written messages can pass back and forth between teletypewriters, just as conversations flow between telephones. At this board, however, there's no spoken number, please. Teletypewriter users communicate with the operator in writing, the desired number appearing before her on a tape, and she communicates with other teletypewriter switchboards in the same way. The written word, not the spoken word, is what passes over the wire.